Well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Will Photo, as you already know. I'm my new whiteboard's favorite photographer. And if you didn't know that, you should probably hit the subscribe button. So if you didn't notice, we're back and we got a different setup. I made some more room right here and I added this whiteboard that is bolted to my wall and it's never coming down. So I got shutter busters right there. Before we hop into the Q&A, I want to ask you guys a question. So I'm trying to come up, this is dusty. So I'm trying to come up with a name to name my fan base and name the community that I'm building. In my lives on TikTok, we decided on shutter busters. Now I'm not 100% on the idea yet, but it's feeling like it's right. It feels like that's the right name to name my fan base and to name the community that supports me. And I think that's what I'm going with. I'm leaning more towards it than leaning not with it, because Shutterbusters looks dope, it sounds dope, it's not taken by anyone. If you like the idea of being a Shutterbuster and you like that name a lot, go ahead and comment below Shutterbusters. Shutterbusters definitely looks dope up there, and I want that to be my fan base name. So if you agree with me and you like that and you're watching this right now, throw a comment down below if you agree. So without further ado, let's jump into the questions. I had you guys ask me some questions on my Instagram through a story post. I try to get you guys to do comments, but no one wants to comment their question for whatever reason. Which is, I lost track of where I was going because I choked on my water. I asked you guys to ask questions on my Instagram story and in the comments, but no one asked a question on the Instagram post. You guys just asked a bunch of questions on the story, so I guess that's where we're at. So let's hop into it. I'm going to start at the bottom. There's a few story posts that I have to go through. The first question is, how can I not hit this backpack? I just thought of that one right now, and it's probably scoot forward a little bit more. Alright, the first question from Mason F. Mason, what's up, bro? How you doing? What are some ways you use to promote your business and get more clients? One of the best ways, I think, to promote your business and to promote a starting out photography business is definitely word of mouth. It's very, very crucial that you build a good rapport with clients that you do get to shoot with for paid work. I've had paid clients come back to me multiple times because they just like how I interacted with them, how I treated them, the work that I gave them, and I got clients because of those very loyal clients. So I think in the beginning, your first client is very crucial, and then keeping that relationship and nurturing that relationship to build it into other relationships, and then you just keep going from there. Getting your first client could look like anything. I mean, one of my very first clients was back when I worked at a grocery store. The girl there wanted her senior photos done. And I was like, cool, these are my rates. We did a photo shoot and I charged her and it went super well. And then what do you know, next week, one of her friends wants a photo shoot for her senior photos. So we did that, and then it just keeps on building and building and building. And then before you know it, you're doing a shoot every week and things are going super well. Best ways to promote your business. To answer that better, talk about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be on Instagram or Facebook or anything. Like, there are people that are around you 24/7 at your job. Talk about what you do, talk about photography, show how much passion you have invested into it, and people will support you. Mason, I hope that answers your question. Zach, thank you for asking a question. How do you know what f-stop to use to get the depth you want? F-stops are how open your lens can be or how closed. So on a normal lens, let's call a 50mm prime a normal lens. So if you want more depth of field, you want like a lot of blurred background, you want your subject to be super in focus, and you want everything behind that subject to be blurred out, you're going to want to use a wide aperture. And a wide aperture is going to be a lower number, like an f1.8, an f2.8, obviously depending on the lens. So the lower your number is, the wider your aperture is, the more depth of field you get. The smaller your aperture is, the higher the number is. That's going to be like an f11, an f22, an f8. You're going to have less depth of field. You're going to have everything else in focus. Wide apertures are really good for low light. They're really good for portraits, good for product photography. Small apertures are good for landscapes, long exposures, and I can't really think of another one. So go ahead and comment below what you use small apertures for. Grant Lewis, thank you for asking a question. I appreciate you. How do you network to take pictures of different cars? So what's really good, and I haven't got to do this yet, is going to car meets. And Cars and Coffee around Columbus, Ohio is very good for networking and meeting people. But at this point in time right now with the coronavirus, none of that's going on. So how I do it is I find people on Instagram that own those cars. And that's kind of hard because like this car was owned by an older man, and his Instagram was very low key, but I found him and I reached out to him and we ended up shooting. And then I found more people, more of his friends, more of his buddies that are in a super niche, like little car community. It's awesome because that's how I did it. I reach out to these people on Instagram and I just send them a nice message and I'm able to shoot with them. So that's how I network to take pictures of different cars. I use Instagram to my advantage. I find people and I reach out to them and then I go shoot with them. Tessa, thanks for asking a question. Favorite picture you've ever taken? That's a really good question and I know the answer to that. So this photo is one of my favorites I've ever taken. It's a long exposure of New York City and I color graded it like that. Literally when I took this photo, that's exactly what I imagined and that's exactly what I was going for. And I hit it right on the head. So I was super, super stoked about that photo. Visualize 3 asked, what helps spark creativity when you're having a mental block? One thing that I do when I'm having a mental block is I read books. I have 2 books right here that I'm reading. This one's called Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone and Napoleon Hill's Keys to Success. So those are the books that I'm currently reading right now. For me, reading really helps. When you have a mental block and you're not creative, you're subconsciously searching for an answer for something. Reading really helps you just think and move those wheels, and then you'll just get out of that creative block. I also use music to get out of creative blocks. Just turn my music up super loud, sing to it, and that just helps me kind of break the mood, and then I get into the flow of working and I get really creative. Gary asked, what's the best way to make a portfolio? For beginner photographers, I'd say it's pretty important to have a portfolio, and if you don't have one yet, you definitely should go make one. My suggestion to you, make a Wix site. You can make them for free. You can add photos to it for free. You can customize it for free. You can have it on the internet for free. Make a Wix site, customize your own portfolio. You can put all of your work on it, and obviously you're asking this because you know that a portfolio is important. So I would suggest go make a portfolio, put all of your best work on it, or put all of your work on it. Do it on Wix.com. There's tons of themes to choose from, and you can do literally anything on there. My first website was solely based on Wix, and I never paid for it, and I had it for over 4 years. How do you get the best quality possible when posting on Instagram? Honestly, I haven't really thought about that because I just post. I export them at the highest quality that I can do, and then I post them. The one suggestion I would say is export to the highest quality you can, but don't go insanely overboard. It is possible to make your photos too large that Instagram can't handle them and it will crash the app. That has happened to me before. But I would just say export them at high quality and you'll be solid. Ooh, how would you describe your style? From Matthew. I would say all over the place, but very narrow at the same time. I don't know. You can definitely tell it's a Will Photo shot, but I also have like a lot of different aspects to my editing and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know how to describe my style, honestly. I don't know. Matthew, since you asked the question, and I hope you're watching this video, can you comment how you would describe my style? Matthew asked a bunch of other good questions. Best location for car photography. This location right here, hands down my favorite location for car photography. This is my favorite place for car photography. It's an abandoned old warehouse. It's always empty, and it looks so sick as a background. Biggest pet peeve in photography. I would say my biggest pet peeve in photography is people who think that if they purchase an expensive camera, they can all of a sudden just take great photos. And that's not how it works. You have to have creativity, you have to know how to execute photos, you have to know how to use your camera properly. You could buy a $1,000 camera and you might not even be able to take a shot on it because you don't know how to use it properly. So yeah, my biggest pet peeve is people who think that if they purchase an expensive camera, they'll all of a sudden be able to take beautiful photos. That's not how it works. Kyle Busha asks, what are some good polarized lenses? So hey bro, I actually don't own a polarized lens, and I don't know why everyone, like, over the past like week, everyone's been talking about polarized lenses, and it's funny because before you guys all started talking about them, I put one in my Amazon cart and I was like thinking about buying one, but now I'm definitely gonna buy one because I want to help you guys out. So yeah, Kyle, I don't know at the moment. I will figure out for you though. True, it's Alex. What inspires you to keep taking pictures? Thank you for the question. And what inspires me? Honestly, I don't know how this will sound, but my growth. I love seeing my growth, and I love seeing where I started to where I am now. So what inspires me is to just imagine where I'm going to be at in 4 years and what I'll be doing then, because like I don't want to stop now. I've already came so far. So that's what inspires me when taking photos. Blacklist Photography asks, have you ever wanted to quit and why? I have wanted to quit, and I have quit for a little bit. I took this very, very long break in photography. I think it was like 4 months, and I just stopped doing it because I didn't have a passion for it anymore. And this was all before I decided I wanted to start shooting cars. I just didn't have a passion for it, and I didn't want to wake up and do it every day. So yeah, I have wanted to quit. Luckily, that passion was reignited by cars and making YouTube videos and making TikToks. Kieran asks, how to start a photography business. Like I said before, start talking about your photography to anyone and everyone. That will definitely bring you clients. Post about it. Post on your personal page, make your own photography Instagram, plug it super hard. Don't be ashamed to plug yourself. What prime lens would you recommend and why? I would recommend getting a 50mm prime lens with an f1.8 aperture or lower if you can. 50mm prime lens is absolutely incredible. They create amazing bokeh. They're beautiful for portraits. They're literally perfect for anything. That's why it's called the Nifty 50. That would be my recommendation. Get yourself a prime lens. And my second recommendation for a prime lens, I've never owned one and I really want to, would be a 35mm, but I would say go with a 50mm prime lens. You're definitely going to see a big change in your photos after you learn how to use it properly. Go get yourself a 50mm prime lens. Colin asks, what's the worst thing someone has said after you say you're a photographer? So one time I was talking with someone about how I'm a photographer and like my goals and aspirations as a photographer, and they started talking about how, oh, you can't make money with photography, like that's too hard, it's impossible, like it'll never work. That's because they gave up on it. And like, who are you to say that someone can't make money on photography? Like literally right off the bat just shits on photography and like talks about how you can't make money off of it. Like, why is that your first go-to? Some people do it because they have a passion for it as well. That is definitely probably one of the worst things someone has ever said to me. It's just very unwarranted, and it's like, why? What do you do when you run out of content or inspiration? When I run out of content, I go out and try to shoot more. And I understand that's very hard, especially in times like now with the whole coronavirus thing. Photographers are going to be lacking a lot of content. And my best advice for you in these times is to spread your content out so that you can continue to post and keep your followers updated without running out of content. And like I said, when I run out of inspiration, I read books and listen to music. What's your advice on starting to make print sales? I would say put your prints up and just attempt to sell them. You never know who's going to purchase one. I didn't sell my first print until Aiden bought one, and then Kyle bought one, and then Alexander bought one. So I sold my first print like 4 days ago. It's going to take a long time. I've been trying to sell prints for 4 years now, and I just sold my first one. So definitely start trying. It's never too early. And don't give up on yourself, because eventually it will happen. Where do you see yourself in photography in 5 years? 5 years in photography from now. I want to be shooting for a massive car company. I want to be like one of their lead photographers or creative directors. 5 years from now, I'd definitely like to have 1 million on YouTube, if not more. I see myself being a very influential photographer in this age. My dream shoot. What is my dream shoot? My dream shoot, like I said in my first Q&A actually, my dream shoot would be shooting a Lamborghini Countach. And if you're not familiar with what that is, I'll put a picture of it right up on this board. That would be my dream shoot. I would love to shoot one of those. Absolutely beautiful car, very iconic, and I think that I could create some awesome art with that. How can one afford expensive gear? Unfortunately, if you can't afford it, you can't get it. My best advice for that would be start off with something that's not so expensive. Work with it, make some money with it, and then sell it, use some money, buy what you want. Gear is extremely expensive, and Like right now I have a Sony A7 II, and I don't even have an upgraded lens. I'm just using the kit lens on it because I can't afford another lens at the moment. How do you get such crispy pics? My editing process, the way I use the tone curve, I do like an S. I think that definitely helps bring out some texture and stuff. I always make sure my photos are perfectly in focus. I turn the texture and clarity up a little bit, turn the sharpening up just a little bit, and that always makes it super, super crispy. But I'm glad that you think my pics are crispy. I appreciate that. Nina asks, if you lived in a different era, what era? 50s, 60s? Imagine the photos. Ansel Adams, like a film photographer. If you don't know who Ansel Adams is, go look him up. He's a very iconic landscape photographer, black and white photography. That's what I would want to be doing. You know, traveling around, taking these beautiful landscape photos on a film camera. That would be incredible. And that is definitely what I would want to be doing if I was shooting in a different era. Kyle Bosha says, when am I getting a plane ticket? Bro, I told you we're going to have a meetup. How it's going to work, I have no idea. But I want to meet all of you guys that support me. And I definitely want to, do something. Ken asks, what's your routine right before doing a shoot? My routine before doing a shoot consists of making sure all of my batteries are charged. I have every single thing in my camera bag. I have my camera. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm shooting. I make sure that I have an SD card, and then I usually go to the bathroom, eat some food, get in my car and go. And then on the way to the shoot, I freak out and think that I don't have an SD card on me, so I double check 4 more times, and then it's all good, and then I go to the shoot and I'm set. So yeah, that's my routine before the shoot. I freak out multiple times. Zach asks, what are the pros and cons to mirrorless? That's a killer question, bro, and I'm so glad that you asked that because Sony's mirrorless cameras have incredible features that DSLRs don't. But I think that they basically, photography and photo-wise, mirrorless and DSLRs compare very well, except for, on a mirrorless camera, you have better video capabilities. I know as far as the Sony A7 compared to the DSLRs that I was using, the Sony A7 can shoot incredible video and my DSLRs could not. Although they could take beautiful photos, the Sony A7 can take beautiful photos and beautiful videos. So that's a pro. The cons to mirrorless. I think one of the biggest cons to mirrorless, and I think this is something that many people aren't talking about, that I want to bring light on, all of the young photographers want mirrorless cameras. And I think mirrorless cameras destroy the learning of photography. And many of you who do shoot DSLRs know what chimping is. And chimping is when you take a shot, check to see if it's right, adjust your settings, take another shot, and you know what you're doing with the settings. You know how to set your ISO, you know how to set your aperture, and you know how to set your shutter speed. You're learning. You actually have to expose a photo properly. As far as with a mirrorless camera, all you have to do is just rotate these dials that you don't know what they mean. I mean, granted, I get there are people that do know what it means, but someone who first picks up a camera and they get their hands on a mirrorless, and I think it just destroys the learning process. And it sets you up for failure if you decide not to learn all the ins and outs of manual shooting and how it all works. I think a photographer should be able to get handed a film camera and expose shots well and properly. That is just my opinion, but I think that mirrorless cameras and how easy they are to learn how to use destroys the learning of photography and using the manual settings. What's the best way to make a car look interesting in a shoot? One of the most important things about making a car look interesting or making anything look interesting is the background. Backgrounds are extremely important when shooting subjects. All of my shoots, every single one has had a meticulously planned out background that I've wanted to use, that I thought about using, that I drove past. I don't just shoot anywhere. I plan out a background because the backgrounds are what makes the photo. It's the subject and the background combined that make a beautiful photo. Nina asks, if you were to shoot a celebrity's garage / cars, who? One of my goals is to shoot Ed Bullion's cars. He has a lot of beautiful cars and he is a huge inspiration to me. If you don't know who Ed Bullion is, you should go check him out. He has the world record for some cannonballs. I'm not sure what year the cannonballs are, but if you don't know who Ed Bullion is, go check him out. But Jay Leno's got a pretty crazy garage, and he's got some crazy fucking cars in there. So shooting Jay Leno's garage would be incredible. At least getting to pick 5 cars out of there and taking them on a photo shoot would be absolutely incredible. Okay, that is all the questions that I have for today. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to every single person who asked a question. It means a lot to me. I know I didn't have the question up for that long, but next Q&A, I'll definitely make sure to like post it a day before, because I only let the questions roll in for like 4 hours. Kind of dumb on my move, but you know, whatever. We got some really good questions, and I hope I answered them all the way that you guys were hoping for. If you have any further questions, feel free to DM me, put them in the comments, comment on my photos. I check everything, and I would love to answer your questions. Furthermore, I am still doing TikTok photo reviews and photo reviews on YouTube. If I have not gotten to your DM, don't be worried. I go through chunks every single day. I try to get through every single person in my requests, and I try to respond to every single person in my DMs. So I apologize if I have not responded to you in a while, or if I haven't gotten to you. There's just a lot of people to respond to, and I want to interact with every single one of you. Hey guys, okay, so I totally forgot to announce the giveaway winner when I was filming the first video. So I just pulled out my phone because I'm sitting here finishing up the video this morning. So the giveaway winner, thank you to every single person who entered. I appreciate every single person who entered, and I'm definitely going to be doing more giveaways because I want to give away to every single person that supports me. The giveaway winner for this video is Matthew Thompson. Thank you for entering, bro. I appreciate you, and I hope that you're watching this. DM me. I need your address, and I'll ship out your choice between a print or an iPhone case. Either one, it is yours. Thank you all so much for entering. That was the 100 subs giveaway winner, and I will definitely be doing more giveaways in the future. Back to the regular video. So thank you all so much for supporting my channel and my brand. It means the world to me. You guys are incredible. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you liked all the questions that I answered, and I hope you guys have a great day. Keep shooting.